The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke and Kevin Price. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with eXp Realty.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It's season 3 for 2024 as the first round of the GHSA state playoffs have arrived. Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and we've got a great show for you tonight. Round 1 of the state playoffs are here, and the 912 has 14 teams with the same dream: win the 2024 state title for their classification. Kevin Price and I will take a closer look at all 14 games and guess who will be moving on to round 2 and who will be taking up costumes on Monday. On this week's In Case You Missed It, 912 Sports will take a look back at a few of last week's games, and I'll also take shots at what I see as flaws with the GHSA's new power ranking system. All this and more on tonight's episode of On Air with 912 Sports. Enjoy the show.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Smoke, and this is In Case You Missed It. Congratulations to the New Hampstead Phoenix on their win over the Ware County Gators Friday night, 48-41. The Phoenix showed up to Memorial Stadium knowing their season was complete after Friday's game, regardless of the outcome, but they sure didn't play like it. The Phoenix offense was clicking on all cylinders as quarterback Rayshon Truell and wide receiver Kamari Maxwell put on a show. Congratulations to Coach Kyle Hockman and his staff for having their team prepared for the moment. It's tough to be up 2 weeks in a row coming off a huge region clinching victory, especially playing a team that lost the prior week where they probably shouldn't have. The Appleton County Pirates found themselves in that very situation Friday night, facing Fitzgerald. Appleton lost 21-16. Any other year, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. With this season, the power rankings, it probably cost Appleton 5 spots, moving them to the 6th seed in AA. In the 2024 version of Swamp Wars, it was the Clinch County Panthers defeating the Charlton County Indians by a final score of 51-37. Both teams knew they were in the playoffs. They just didn't know what their seed was going to be. With the victory, Clinch secured the number 2 spot, and with the loss, Charlton County locked itself in as the 4th seed. Speaking of seeding in Single A Division II, I was under the impression that GHSA was going to reseed all the teams 1 through 32, just like they were doing Single A through 3A. But I was wrong. With no private schools in Single A Division II, there was no need to reseed everybody. So the 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3 playoff format intact in 4A, 5A, and 6A, it stays in effect in Single A Division II. Pay attention, Sean. Hey, but I am going to get on my soapbox here just a little bit and talk about what this seeding has done and how it's played out here for the playoffs. First of all, kudos to GHSA for removing the private schools in these smaller classifications. This has been a system that's been broke for years, and the GHSA decided to do something about it, and I think this was a good move. However, I do see some flaws in this system. Basically, when you go into the computer rankings 1 through 32, they do have some situations where region teams are facing off in the first round. I don't believe this should happen. They should move a team up or move a team down. Region opponents should not be playing one another in the first round. 2, teams in the same region that finished ahead of teams in region play. In other words, if you were a 3 seed over a 4 seed, when they reseed 1 through 32, the 4 should not jump over to 3. Region play has to matter. And finally, an at-large team should never jump a team that finished 3 or 4. If you're going to put at-large teams in, they cannot jump teams that beat them out for region competition. That region play has to matter. Hey, look, this is the first year of GHSA's plan, so we'll see what they do to improve it in the offseason. Hopefully they'll make some changes to it. But kudos to GHSA for getting the private schools out and letting the public schools have championships based on public schools. Well, that'll wrap it up for In Case You Missed It for this week. Stick around. We got more On Air with 912 Sports coming up right after these messages.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports. He's Kevin Price, head writer and podcast host. Kevin, how are we doing this morning?
Good, Sean. Good to be here talking high school football with you. Playoff time here in Georgia. One of my favorite times of the year in terms of sports, just to see these brackets unfold over the next several weeks. Some gigantic matchups will take place to kind of give you goosebumps. And, I think every year we're reminded of how good high school football is in the state of Georgia as we go throughout these playoffs. No doubt some of the best in the country.
Yeah, definitely, Kevin. It's hard to believe. It seems like last week we were talking about preseason games, but here we are. We're into round one. It actually delayed even a week, because of Hurricane Helene. But we're going to get it kicked off. We're going to highlight all the games in our 912 area, and then we'll go in depth and on a couple of them. We're going to start off with the Camden County Wildcats. They got to travel up to North Cobb. This is a game, Kevin, that Camden's going to have their hands full. North Cobb comes into the contest on a perfect season, 10-0, 6-0 in region, averaging 43 points a game. So Camden's going to have to play their A game to be able to move on to round two. But the first game we're going to talk about in depth, Kevin, is Villa Rica at Brunswick. Brunswick won this region, sitting there at 9-1, had a great season, 8-0 in this region. I think that's the third time they've won the region and went perfect, went all the way through without a loss. Villa Rica comes in 5-5, 4-3 in the region. I went back and did some Maxwell ratings and looked at what Max Preps thought, or not Maxwell, but Max Preps, and what they have these teams ranked at in the state of Georgia. Brunswick comes in as the number 29 team in the state of Georgia, whereas Villa Rica comes in at number 131. So you think that the odds favor the Pirates in this game one?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, obviously, Brunswick's a region champion. They're a 4 seed. Brunswick lost just one game to Camden County in the season opener, 51-41, has won every game since. Villa Rica's a 5-5 football team for a reason. They're an average football team. So Brunswick's going to be heavily favored on their home team now, or on their home field. This team's going to be physical. They're going to play hard. I think they're pretty good in the trenches, but I think Brunswick's just going to have too much firepower for them on offense. Brunswick's certainly one of the highest scoring teams in the state, certainly in 5A. Brunswick set a new single-season school record for points in the season. They have 460 on the year. Do the math on that. 10 games, they average 46 points a game. And then, of course, defensively, they're solid, fast, physical, talented on that side of the ball. And Villa Rica's offense is going to feature their quarterback. But I think, again, Brunswick should overpower them in that matchup as well. So it's Brunswick all day, every day in this.
Yeah, and it looks that way. So look for the Pirates to move on to round two, and a juicy matchup sitting there out there for round two. We'll get into that a little bit, because the next game we're going to talk about is the Coffee High Trojans are going to travel up to Jackson County to take on the 8-2 Jackson County team. Jackson County is where, if people from this area, this is where Rich McWhorter was a couple of years ago. Rich is now retired, but this is a team that's had a really good year. They lost to Jefferson. Jefferson, one of the best teams there in 5A, and to Clark Central. So Coffee's going to have their hands full as they go on the road. But listen, you do not want to be a 2 seed with number 3 seed Coffee Trojans rolling into town. Coffee's defense has been stingy again this year. I know they've gave up a few points to Thomas County Central and also TCC, TCC and Lee County. But again, these guys, man, had just been clamped, shut down all year long on the defensive side of the ball. And I look for more of the same on Friday night, and I look for Coffee to move on and move into that juicy second round matchup we talked about.
Well, here's the deal. If Coffee were in a different region, they might be a region champion. Exactly. They're one of the best regions in the state. Lee County won the region. Thomas County Central finished second. Thomas County Central, just like Coffee, is a defending state champion. Lee County, a perennial power. The 4 seed, not too shabby either. Houston County with one of the best quarterbacks in the state. So as the 3 and 4 seeds in this region, I'd hate to be, the 1 and 2 out of this other region. Look here. No offense to Jackson County, but they're not Coffee County. They wouldn't make the playoffs in the region that Coffee's coming out of. Just a matchup where, because of the numbers, Coffee has to go on the road. But look here, Jackson County is 8-2, 5-1 in the region. It's a weak region, Sean. The only team they lost to in the region was the region champion, Clark Central. They also lost to Jefferson, the other so-called maybe best team on their schedule. So they didn't beat anybody of any significance. Coffee's going to go up there, take these guys behind the woodshed, come back to South Georgia, and play Brunswick next week. Mark it down.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right on that. Effingham's going to go in as a 3 seed, got to make that long ride up to East Paulding. We'll see how that one shakes out. And then Glenn Academy is going to travel up to Rome to take on the Rome Wolves. Again, I did a little Max, Max Preps ratings, Rome comes in as the number 40 team in Georgia. They're sitting there at 7-2, 7-0 in region. So, and then you look over at Glenn Academy. Glenn Academy's ranked at 120. But Glenn's been playing some better football toward the end of the year. They're sitting there at 6-4, 5-3 in the region. So who knows, man? Rocky Hidalgo, you don't ever take him for granted. He could go on the road and get a win against Rome. Rome lost earlier to Toombs County. Toombs a little, single A school. Toombs goes on the road and beats Rome. So Rome is not unbeatable. We'll see if the Glenn Academy Red Terrors can go on the road and get that one done. And then the last game we're going to talk about on this side of the break is the Ware County Gators going to be taking on the Tucker Tigers. Tucker, out of that Atlanta area, that DeKalb County area. Ware comes into the contest ranked 53 in Georgia. Tucker is at 132. But, hey, listen, Ware County just lost last week to 103 in New Hampstead. So the Ware County Gators are definitely not invincible by no means. Tucker comes into the contest with a better record, 7-3. Ware's sitting there at 5-5. But the Ware County Gators do get to play at home in Memorial Stadium. I'll look for them to handle their business on Friday night.
Yeah, I do too. Now, this is a game where if you just looked at it on paper and, had maybe been asleep under a log for a few years, you might go, holy cow, Ware gets Tucker in round one. But pump the brakes. This is not the same Tucker team that you might know from when you fell asleep under that log. Not quite as good as they used to be. They are 7-3, but again, the region they play in, not the strongest. Now, Ware County, 5-5, 3-2 in the region. I was a little bit surprised by that game last week. No offense to New Hampstead, but they do have an offense. Their defense has kind of been their Achilles heel. I would like to think that Ware County laid down at least a little bit in that ball game with really nothing on the line in terms of how it would affect them in the region. But, Sean, I mean, as tough as this region was, or we thought it was anyway, when the season started, I would be shocked that Ware would finish with a 5-5 record. Overall, that includes some tough non-region games too. They've been Jekyll and Hyde, and sometimes we don't know which team's going to show up. If the right Ware County team shows up, they're going to easily advance to round two. If the one that shows up last week shows up again, could have their hands full against Tucker, who's going to come in and try to play them off their feet. But Ware County should win this game, and I think they will.
Yeah, and I think you're right. They've been a Jekyll and Hyde team all year. A good Ware County team can beat anybody in 4A. Ware County team that doesn't show up and play 100% can lose to anybody in 4A. So we'll just have to see what team gets off the bus there at Memorial Stadium on Friday night and see how see if they can advance to round two. Probably earn a trip up into the Athens area to play North Oconee if they do. So, but that's going to take care of this side of the break, Kevin. We're going to come back and talk about the rest of the games there for November the 15th, the first round of the state playoffs, right after these messages. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke. He's Kevin Price, and we're talking about the first round of the GHSA state playoffs here in the state of Georgia. We're talking about the games coming up for November the 15th. And Kevin, first game that we'll mention is Long County is going to have to make the long ride to North Georgia to play Upson Lee. Long County is a team I thought in the beginning of the year may have a chance to be 9-1, 8-2. They come in to the playoffs at 7-3, 6-3 in region play there. I did the Max Preps rating. Upson Lee is sitting there at 106. Long County sitting there at 187. So we'll see if the Blue Tide can make that long ride up into the mountains Georgia to take on Upson Lee and see if they can get that win. But the next game that we're going to talk about in depth is Chris is going to be at Appleton. The reason we're going to talk about this game is I don't think either one of us worry about who's going to win. We're pretty sure who's going to win this game. But when GHSA and their infinite wisdom has put these guys in this power rankings 1 through 32, they have two region opponents who played each other back on October 11th, playing one another in round one. And I don't understand it, Kevin. I would have thought that GHSA could have moved somebody one position or the other, so stuff like this doesn't happen. Now, we never said this system was foolproof. We'll see if they go back and look at it next year and try to make some adjustments. But I just don't understand why in the first round of the state playoffs you should be playing a region foe.
Yeah, all this may be a discussion for another day, and certainly we weren't privy to the meetings of how they were going to exactly do this and what the power rankings meant and whatnot. And, they won't make us part of the discussion either if they were to sit down and do it at the end of the year. Maybe they'll listen to some of us who write and talk about it. I don't know. But I do see this as potentially one of the flaws is having region teams match up in the first round. I know in other organizations where it's high school or college or whatnot, you don't see this very thing. Teams from the same region can't meet to a certain point. The way things are drawn out or written out or whatever you want to call it. So we'll see if that would be possibly something that does change. I do see that as a potential flaw here in this system. There are some other ones that, we may or may not get into in terms of how you direct this conversation and whether you get my blood pressure pumping, John. But Crisp and Appling, this was a game that Appling won going away 24-7 in mid-October in region play. Should be very similar, if not worse. Move Appling on out to round number 2. Of course, last week, Sean, they got beat by Fitzgerald. I'm not sure that they were 100% ready to play coming off that emotional victory the week before against Appling, which are against Pierce, which won them the region championship and the top seed. Fitzgerald had lost the week before to Jeff Davis, and that knocked them out of the running for their region championship. So they may have had a little more fire in their belly, but they're a good football team nonetheless. So anyway, I look for Appling to hit the reset button and get ready to go here.
Yeah, and not to beat a dead horse here, but Ware and Apple were kind of in the boat in the same boat. Apple a little bit different. Ware knowing, regardless of what happened with New Hampshire last week, their path was set. Appling, to the same degree, they knew they were going to win the region, Kevin. But to me, I think if Appling beats Fitzgerald, they probably go into the playoffs as a 1 seed. Now they're sitting there at a 6. Because of the reshuffling of everything. So Apple may have missed an opportunity there last week to be that 1 seed in 2. And what you do, Kevin, in that situation, you guarantee yourself if you win, you're going to be at home throughout the playoffs. So something there for to think about for future games like that. Probably cost yourself, at least 5 spots there in those power rankings. But we'll move on. We've got Jackson is going to be coming down to Pierce County. Pierce County coming in as the number 49 team in the state. Jackson at 301. That's enough said. I don't think these guys are going to stay on the field with Pierce. Pierce beat Vidalia 41-0. I look for a similar score in the first round of the state playoffs, if not worse. So move Pierce on to the second round. Next game we're going to talk about, Kevin, is another game. Not a region foe, but a rematch of the first game of the season. This is Washington County is going to travel down to Jeff Davis. I think the only difference is the first game of the season, I think Jeff Davis had to go to Washington County, but Jeff Davis did come away the winners in that game 23-6. So, again, it's a little bit different, but we've got a rematch of a game that was played earlier in the season, and I just wish that they had a way to avoid these kind of games.
Yeah, I guess, truthfully, Sean, if they're going with strictly how that computer spits out those power rankings and they just put these teams on the right chalk line, so to speak, and this is the way it comes out, But when I first saw this, I was like, boy, this is starting to look like the NCAA tournament, maybe March Madness, because this is the kind of games they like to play. They act like, no, these are how we seeded these teams and whatnot, but that's baloney. They'll move a team up a line or 2 or down a line or 2. They don't skew too much, but they're going to pit a mentor against a pupil or something like that. They're gonna play Duke versus Kentucky. So we can talk about Christian Laettner, which I love to do, by the way, but the Kentucky fans get tired of it every year. Things like that, just to create ratings and all those kind of, and those games are going to be on the TV. Now, that's not necessarily the case here, but yes, Jeff Davis and Washington County met in the first game of the season. You're exactly right. It was in Sandersville. This was going to be down here in the Pinelands. The interesting thing about that, though, is why would they play a game like that? Well, Lance Helton used to play at Washington County. That's his alma mater. So now, not only did he beat them once, he's got to turn around and beat them twice. So they kind of book in the matchup here. But I think Jeff Davis can get it done. They won that game pretty handily in the opener. They've had some ups and downs and maybe have kind of righted the ship a little bit here toward the end. Washington County, a 6-4 football team, 6-3 in the region, finished fourth. So I think, the scale should be tilted in Jeff Davis's favor here, playing at home. But also, let me mention that Robert Edwards is now the coach at Washington County. Of course, Terrence Edwards' brother, Takeo Spikes, who played at Auburn. The two Edwards boys played at Georgia. They're all Washington County legends. I'm sure Lance Helton is too, of course.
For the max prep ratings, Jeff Davis comes in at 157. Washington County sitting there at 224. So we'll see if Jeff Davis can advance to the second round. Another game we're not going to get into in depth, but a team that we basically last week, Kevin, we talked about, said they were dead and done with. They wasn't, they were taking up costumes. The Bacon County Red Raiders make the playoffs as an at-large bid. They're going to go on the road to take on Thomasville. Good luck with that. But I guess, Kevin, next year we'll know, hey, listen, we can't pronounce these guys just because you don't finish 1 through 4. You can't pronounce these guys as out of the playoffs because there's so many at-large spots, and Bacon was rewarded with one of these spots, and so they're going to play into the first round of the playoffs. Bacon is 4-6, 1-5 in region. Thomasville won that region. This is another region, matchup. This game got postponed during the regular season, but again, Bacon with a 1-5 region record gets in over Brantley, who had a 2-4 region record. So again, not trying to explain anything away, just kind of scratching your head as to why some of these things are happening. But the next game that we're going to talk about in depth is Warren County is going to take on Clinch County over at the Boneyard there in Homerville. Clinch, with a big win last week over Charlton, put themselves in as that 2 seed. Even though they finished with the same record with the tiebreaker, it put I think it was Irwin as 1 and Brooks as 3, or however it shook out. I can't remember who was 1 and who was 3, but it solidified Clinch as the number 2 seed. Charlton fell down to the 4. But again, Clinch comes into this contest a 2 seed, 139, taking on Warren County, who's not even ranked, who was a 3 seed, out of their region. So I look for Clinch to roll in this one as well.
Yeah, for sure. You got a 9-1 Clinch team ranked number 5 in the state. They might not be the favorite for the state championship in this classification, but they're among the favorites. And if they can get it rolling, obviously they have history and tradition. They like to win, and they know how to win at this time of the year. And, of course, their interim coach, even though he's interim, knows how to win state championships. He's done it more than once. So he could be on the verge of another one. Who knows? But Clinch has kind of caught a little fire, too. They won their last 4, including that one the other night over Charlton. Warren, like I say, just a 6-4 football team. So Clinch going to be heavy favorites in this one. Should go out and get the job done and move on to round 2.
Yeah, look for Clinch to move on for sure. MCA is going to be taking on Wilcox County. Kevin, I've been talking about the max preps ratings. This is a weird situation. MCA comes in as a 3, Wilcox is a 4 seed. Is a 2 seed, but yet MCA is ranked higher. They're at 237. Wilcox is at 267. So we'll see if home field advantage plays into this, or if MCA can move on. And then you've got Charlton's going to travel up to Lincoln. This is going to be a tough ask for Charlton County. Charlton County 5-5 on the season, 2-3. They got to go play a perfect Lincoln County team who's 9-0, 4-0 region champ, sitting there at 80 in the max preps rankings, with Charlton's down in 216. So definitely a tough ask for the Charlton County Indians. But listen, that's going to wrap it up for all the first round playoffs here in the 912. Get out and see a high school football game. We're getting a shorter and shorter season here, every Friday night. But should be some good matchups, and go see one that's close to you there, because like I said, it's going to be a couple weeks and there will be no more high school football. So appreciate everybody watching. Stick around. We got more On Air 912 Sports right after these messages.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal!
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.